Hello everybody, welcome to our next section on receiving, storage, and issuing control. In today's video we're going to talk about the receiving process. So what I usually ask people is, describe a food service area that you have seen. So what does a food service receiving area look like? What would be your expectation? And in every operation it's going to be a little bit different. Some larger operations, it could be a loading dock, or it could be multiple loading docks, right? In smaller operations, it might be your back door. It's basically the area that your deliveries are going to come in, right? So what happens there? Well, obviously the food gets there, right? Or any products that you order. You're going to go through and check them over, make sure there's the right amount, the right quantity. We're going to talk about those specific steps in the next few slides here. The next thing is, what equipment should be there, or what do you need in a proper receiving area? Well, obviously you're going to need some carts and dollies and things like that to take the food where it should go. Depending on the size of the operation, you may have, freezers or fridges there, or shelves to store product. It may be a combination receiving area and a bit of a bulk storage area before it gets divvied out to various restaurants in your resort or whatever. Or it may be just a very small back area that your product dubs in and you have room to check it. Then how do you check it? Well, obviously you can count the number of cases of things that are coming in. But what if it's product like protein, like prime rib or something like that? So then you should have a scale that you can spot check. The invoice says 27.35 pounds of prime rib. We can weigh it on the scale. Is that close? Is it within our acceptable tolerance? Scales can be a little bit different. All right, it's close enough, but it's not like 20 and we're missing 7 pounds, right? So you should have scales. You should have pens and paper and calculators so that you can check your invoices. You should have a thermometer for food safety to make sure that the temperature of the product coming in is optimal or outside of the danger zone, right? The things you need to have there also is your order sheet. So how much product did you order? Bid sheets telling you what was the price on that stuff that you ordered when you ordered it. Product specifications. What is the grade, pack size, ripeness, all that information, brand that needs to be that the chef is expecting the product to be, right? And then the list of what's coming in that day. What products are we expecting to, what suppliers are we expecting to come in that day, right? So the process is pretty simple. The guy pulls up, girl pulls up with their truck. We're going to confirm that the quality matches the chef standards. The first thing we're going to do and look and see, okay, are these strawberries acceptable? Is this prime rib AAA versus AA? Does it match that product specification that we're looking for? Are we getting San Marzano tomatoes, or did they sub in some Heinz 57 tomatoes, right? Is it acceptable product or not? We're going to confirm the quantity matches the invoice. Okay, the invoice says we got 10 cases of tomatoes. We have 10 cases of tomatoes, right? Then we're going to confirm the price and quantity on the invoice match what was on our order and our bid sheets. So the invoice says 10 cases of tomatoes. Did we order 10 cases of tomatoes? Or did we only order 8? Are they trying to give us 2 extra ones and, bulk up the price of the invoice? Usually it doesn't happen, but those are the things we want to check, right? The case of tomatoes, is the price on the invoice the same as the price on the bid sheet? When we did the order, tomatoes were $15 a case. Is that the same on the invoice, or did the price change? It should be the same based on when you bought it. Because when you place the order, you're agreeing to buy 10 cases of tomatoes at $15, not 8 cases of tomato at $75, right? The other thing that you want to check is math and extensions. And I'm not too worried about this on computer-generated invoices. Where it comes down to is if you're getting handwritten invoices, and usually this is going to come from a local supplier, a farm or a ranch or something like that, that they don't have a computerized invoice system. So you're going to have, 14 pounds of carrots at $4 a pound, and they're going to make sure that that math is done correctly so that you're not paying extra for what came in, right? So what happens if something doesn't match in any of these steps? Say we have poor quality or the quantity doesn't match. So the first thing we need to do is notify the driver. We need to ask the driver because maybe the driver can get you the right product or new product because the quality wasn't there. Maybe they can get it fixed before you have to go any further, right? If not, you need to make sure that you request a credit memo. Now, this is a separate little piece of paper that says, nope, you didn't get 2 cases of strawberries. They were worth this much, so you deserve a credit of X number of dollars, right? You should also make a note on the invoice and have the driver initial that note before you split off the copies, because there's 2 copies usually. One's going to go to you, one's going to go to the driver. So make sure that any signatures and notes are on both copies. Okay. If we have incorrect pricing, we need to notify our purchaser or whoever your purchaser is in your establishment. Sometimes that's the chef, right? So that they can talk to the supplier and make sure that you do get the correct pricing and that problem has been rectified. Do not sign the invoice until you get the go-ahead from your purchaser. Anytime you sign something, it's like a contract. So if you sign that invoice, you're agreeing to pay the dollar amount that's on that invoice. If there's a problem, doesn't matter. You signed it, you accepted it. Okay? So if your items are shorted, obviously we go through that red step and the blue step there, but the one thing that's really important that sometimes gets missed is nobody tells the kitchen, right? Nobody tells the chef that, hey chef, your prime rib didn't come in, and the chef goes to put the prime rib in the oven and he doesn't have any prime rib, right? So as soon as you know that there's a short, you need to inform the kitchen so they can make alternate plans, or we can source product from someone else. Or, in worst case scenarios, in hotels, I've borrowed from another hotel across the street that had extra product and then replaced it, right? So the chef has options to fix the problem as long as he knows about it, right? So approving the invoice. Once the invoice is accurate, the receiver or the person that is acting as the receiver will sign it. So whether that's a sous chef, the chef, line cook, a dishwasher, I don't care who it is who's working as a receiver, they're going to go through all those steps, make sure that everything's good, then they're going to sign it. 1 copy is going to keep for the receiver, and 1 copy is going to go to the driver, right? And those copies, any signatures or notes should be on both copies. Some operations may use a stamp on the invoice to confirm the invoice is checked, extensions checked, and invoice paid. There were a couple operations that I worked with, generally larger operations, where accounting had a stamp made that I would put on there, and I had a couple of check boxes. Did you check the quality? Yes. Did you check the quantity? Yes. Those sorts of things. And then I would have to initial that stamp as well, just to make sure that the process is all covered. That step there is going to be specific from operation to operation. Some of them have it, some of them don't. Once everything is cool and kosher and we're happy, we've signed our invoice, our driver has left, it's time to put the food away, right? Now, I'm not going to get too deep into how and where and when we put the food away. This should have all been covered under your food safety course. If you want to review it, it's in your textbook, right? But the main points here is you need to make sure that it's done quickly to prevent spoilage and theft. Store your frozen and refrigerated items first so that they're not sitting on the dock thawing, right? We're going to always rotate our stock using FIFO to reduce the risk of spoilage in the storage and place new products behind the old ones. Now, the one point with this I want to make is not only do we practice FIFO, we can practice first expiry first out. For instance, if you're getting milk from 2 different suppliers, they may come in, you may get an order that is newer than the last order, but the product expires before the older one that came in. So you always want to make sure that the expiry dates are at the front. First expiry, first out, as well as first in, first out. Because depending on products that have those expiry date, you want to make sure that you're using those matching up those expiry date, right? Keep identical products in the same location. Don't have canned tomatoes stored in 4 different locations. Makes it really hard to do inventory to know how much you need to order. And you can really end up with way too much product if it's stored in multiple locations, right? Organize your inventory sheets to align with product allocation on the shelves. So when you go to count your inventory, you should start in one corner and move through the shelves, and they should match that list that you're checking them off on. Some areas we're going to have a spoilage report. Some places I've worked, they call it a shrink report. And it's a way to track products that spoiled in storage. It's not overproduction. This is product that has gone bad, or we ordered too much and say the green onions went bad, right? So that's a report that's should be in every location, and it's not been in every location that I've been in. All right, so that's our quick hit on the receiving process. The next video, we're going to talk about requisitions and issuing.